The night before the college entrance exam, with tears in her eyes, Mom spoke the cruelest words in the humblest tone. Ting ting, how about we just stop taking exams? Mom really can't afford to support the three of you anymore. But deep down, I felt nothing at all, because she had already said those words in her previous life. I've actually been reborn. In my previous life. After hearing her words, I felt deeply guilty. I thought to myself that it had already been hard enough for my mom to support me this far. My younger brother and sister are still so young, and she really couldn't afford to pay for my college education as well. So, even though he was clearly a promising student who was sure to get into a top university, on the very day of the college entrance exam, he hopped on a train and headed south to find work. From then on, he shouldered the responsibility of raising his younger siblings and devoted half his life to them. He worked 3 shifts a day and eventually died on his way to his part-time job. Most dramatic of all is, it wasn't until after I died that I realized I wasn't Luo Xiao's biological child at all. On the day she gave birth, the wife of the city's richest man also unexpectedly gave birth at the same hospital. Her biological daughter has a congenital heart defect, and the doctor said treating it would cost a great deal of money. She is a daughter, and she is seriously ill. Her mother-in-law and husband hardly hesitated at all. Without a word, they were ready to abandon the child at the hospital to fend for itself, telling her to have a son later. Luo Xiao loved her daughter dearly and, naturally, was unwilling to give up her own flesh and blood. Still recovering from childbirth, she wandered the hospital halls, holding her seriously ill daughter in her arms, clinging to a glimmer of hope that she might find a kind-hearted person willing to help save her daughter. But after walking for half a day, I was still none the wiser. It wasn't until later that she saw the wealthy young lady lying on the delivery bed. Seeing that no one was around, she had a sudden idea. To ensure her daughter would survive and have a good life, she switched her daughter with the daughter of a wealthy family. That rich girl. That's me. That one change of hers completely transformed my entire life. After that, her biological daughter lived a comfortable and happy life with my parents. As for me, I spent my whole life working myself to the bone for her. Even after I die, she still won't leave me alone. To squeeze more money out of me, she even set up my memorial altar right outside the company where I worked part-time, leaving my body on display for a month, and ultimately walked away with a huge settlement. Later, they even took a gift of money and arranged a posthumous marriage for me, finally squeezing every last bit of use out of me. As she counted the money, she couldn't stop smiling. Every single bill is stained with my blood. She used the money I had earned with my life to buy a house for her son. He bought another car for his daughter. In addition, she made sure to leave a substantial dowry for her biological daughter, from whom she had been separated for 20 years even though she didn't need it herself. Wearing a bright red wedding gown, I turned into a vengeful spirit, watching them enjoy themselves as a family in their new, spacious house. It felt as if a fire had been kindled in my heart. A bone-chilling hatred made me want to storm in and slaughter every last one of them. Unfortunately, before I could even go inside, the underworld messenger arrived. He cast a spell just in time to stop my retaliation. He had intended to take me away immediately to be reincarnated, but my resentment was too strong, and I simply refused to go with him. So, to dispel my hatred and allow me to be reincarnated in peace after death, he gave me a chance to start over, letting me be reborn a year before the college entrance exam. Not being able to take the college entrance exam in my previous life was the biggest regret of my life, because the college entrance exam is not only my chance to change my destiny, but also my only chance to meet my biological parents. Every year when the college admission results are announced, the city holds a ceremony to honor outstanding students. My biological father, Ning Yunpeng, attends in person and, in his capacity as a philanthropic entrepreneur, presents awards to students who have been admitted to Tsinghua University and Peking University. So that year, I studied like crazy. I get up a little after 4 a.m. every morning and don't go to bed until the early hours of the morning. Every day, they work from dawn till dusk, braving wind and rain, and put in an effort that most people cannot even imagine. Although it's been a long time since I've studied this material and I feel a bit out of practice with the textbooks, I make up for it by working really hard. Hard work pays off. My hard work paid off, and I went straight from an ordinary university to Tsinghua or Peking University. She wants me to give up now. How could I possibly listen to her? I am no longer the timid, submissive little girl I was in my past life. As for me now, I feel no affection whatsoever for her, only hatred. I stared into her eyes, my gaze brimming with sarcasm. I get good grades, and I'll receive a scholarship if I get into college, one that will cover all my college expenses. Since I don't need you to support me, what right do you have to stop me from going to college? Luo Xia froze for a moment when she saw my piercing gaze. It seemed she couldn't quite come to terms with the fact that her daughter, who had always been so meek and submissive, was now treating her this way. But after all, she was a middle-aged woman with over a decade of experience in hurling insults, so she certainly knew how to handle a young girl like me. So she quickly adjusted her mindset and put on a look of hurt again. Then she wiped away a tear and complained, "What kind of thing is that to say? You're my daughter. I'd be happier than anyone if you made something of yourself. Even if you don't need me to support you. Don't forget you have 2 younger brothers and a younger sister. You have to think about them, too. An older sister is like a mother. If you go off to college, what will happen to your younger siblings? Your father and I both have health problems. If you don't go out to work, your younger siblings will have to drop out of school and end up with nothing." I silently rolled my eyes in my head. What's wrong? A gynecological condition caused by sitting for too long while playing mahjong. He has bronchitis from smoking. If this is considered an illness, how are people with actual severe disabilities supposed to get by? Also, an older sister is like a mother. What kind of nonsense is that? If you can't afford to raise a child, don't have one. Why should you use my blood to support the child you gave birth to? I really feel like swearing right now, but I held back. It's not the right time to have a falling out with her just yet. The college entrance exam is tomorrow, and I've worked so hard preparing for it all year. I can't let anything go wrong now. Her life has now crumbled into dust, but my future remains bright and promising. My life is 1,000 or 100 times better than hers. I can't risk my future just to argue with someone like that. With that thought, I took a deep breath and forced myself to suppress the anger welling up inside me. He changed his attitude. It's just acting, isn't it? Anyone can do that. I put on a flattering smile and naturally slipped my arm through hers. Mom. Of course I know my younger brother and sister need me. But what you don't realize is that I didn't get into this college for myself, I did it for them. Luo Xia looked utterly incredulous and contemptuous. By the time you graduate and start making money, who knows how long that'll take? Who has that kind of time to wait? I gave a mysterious smile and shook my head, neither confirming nor denying what she said. Mom, you're really underestimating me. With my abilities, I can start making money for you before I even graduate from college. My grades are good enough to get me into Tsinghua or Peking University for sure. Do you know how much the county will reward me for getting into one of those schools? How much? Luo Xia looked at me with great anticipation, seeing the greedy look in her eyes. I held up 2 fingers and wiggled them. Luo Xia, 20,000. I shook my head. 200,000. Once our family gets that 200,000 yuan, it'll be enough to cover my brother's down payment. I can always go back to working after that. I'll use my salary to gradually help my brother pay off the loan. It's not like making money takes just a day or two, right? To convince her that I was telling the truth, I pulled my 3rd mock exam score report right out of my backpack. Last year, Tsinghua's cutoff score was 677. And I scored 681 on my practice exam. My mom couldn't stop smiling as she looked at the dazzling scores and the huge words "first place" in the report card. Not only did she gladly agree to let me take the college entrance exam, but she also helped me pack my things and reminded me not to forget my admission ticket. Just like a real mother. But it's only similar. She isn't my mother. She's just a human trafficker. She will never, ever deserve my forgiveness. The next day, as I was heading to the test center, she was, for once, a little kinder to me. Ting ting. Do your best on the exam and aim for a good score. I smiled and nodded. Of course I'll study hard for the exams. I'll do my best to get into the school of my dreams and make sure I don't repeat the tragic life I lived in my past life. Fight to reclaim everything that's mine. In the exam room, I found that the exam questions weren't as difficult as I had imagined. The question formats were no different from those in the regular practice tests, with a wealth of experience solving practice problems. I feel right at home when tackling problems. I don't know how long it had been. The bell signaling the end of the exam rang. I slid the pen back into its cap, and just as my Chinese teacher had said, I felt the same sense of satisfaction as a knight sheathing his sword. The efforts and regrets of 2 lifetimes were all poured into these few small answer sheets. I believe they will become my wings, helping me break free from the shackles of my family of origin and carry me toward a bright future. The grades are out. Just as I expected. My scores did indeed meet Tsinghua University's admission cutoff. When the acceptance letter from Tsinghua University arrived, Luo Xia clutched it and couldn't stop smiling. Of course. I know she wasn't happy that I got into Tsinghua, because she never intended for me to go to college in the first place. To her, this wasn't just an acceptance letter. That's 200,000 in cash. Let me see. I wanted to take the acceptance letter and have a look at it after all. Even though I've lived 2 lifetimes, this was the first time I'd ever received something like this. To my surprise, Luo Xia gave me a wary look and then immediately put the acceptance letter away. The look on her face seemed to suggest she was afraid I might run off with the letter. She asked me to confirm it very carefully. Ting ting. We agreed before the college entrance exams this money is for your brother's down payment. And you're going to work to help him pay off the loan. You're not going to back out, are you? I smiled warmly. Of course not. I'd love to contribute to my family. Only then did she let out a sigh of relief. After thinking for a moment, she added, Mom's only looking out for you. It's not good for a girl to study too much. It makes it hard to find a husband. You have no idea in big cities. There are lots of college-educated women who are well into their 30s and still haven't found anyone to marry. They go home with no one to care for them. Isn't that scary? Someday, Mom will have a matchmaker find you a wealthy husband, and then you'll live a life of comfort. I couldn't help but sneer to myself. On the one hand, he told me that going to college was pointless and urged me to give up Tsinghua and go get a job to make money. At the same time, however, she spends money to send her youngest daughter to tutoring classes and strictly supervises her studies, afraid that her grades might slip even the slightest bit. She really does have a double standard when it comes to what she says. Even though I was thinking that, I kept a straight face and nodded obediently. Only then was Luo Xia satisfied. The morning the award ceremony began. Just as I had finished getting dressed and was ready to leave, I realized the door was already locked. Even though I could hear them eating and talking right outside the door, no matter how much I called out, not a single person came to open the door for me. My younger brother said impatiently, Stop yelling. Mom went to school to pick up your award. She was worried you'd get lost. Don't worry. She'll open the door for you as soon as she gets back. I see. She must be afraid that I'll take the money and run off to college right away. And then all her efforts would be for nothing. That's really sneaky. All 3 of them and Luo Xia were wearing the same pair of pants, so it was obviously out of the question to ask them to open the door for me. If I just sit around waiting for her to come back, I'll throw away the opportunity one worked so hard to get, and I might never have another chance to turn my life around. I thought it over and over again, and finally set my sights on the windowsill. I live on the 2nd floor. The security grill on my bedroom window broke a while back, but Luo Xia didn't want to spend the money to fix it, so it's been left unrepaired ever since. I can pull it right off with just a light tug. After that, I used the bedsheet as a safety rope and climbed out the window to escape. I looked down at my watch. Thankfully, there's still time. Luckily, I got up early enough. I set my alarm for 7:30 a.m. for the ceremony that started at 9:00 a.m. Even after all that hassle, it's still not even 8 o'clock yet. Before long, I spotted a familiar figure by the roadside. It's Luo Xia. The reason I recognized her at a glance was that she was dressed so strikingly, like a peacock. She not only wore a bright red new dress, but also went out of her way to put on makeup and get her hair permed, seemingly determined to make a splash as the mother of the top-scoring student. She was walking and talking on the phone at the same time, completely oblivious to the footsteps behind her, judging by the tone of their voices. It sounds like they're still arguing about something. I thought something was a little off, so I slowed my pace and listened carefully. I was actually going to listen to you. I didn't want her to take the college entrance exam, but she said she could earn 200,000 for me just by taking the test, and she'd give it to me right away. So of course I had to let her go. Come on. You're my own daughter. Of course I'm closer to you, but you have to think about me and your younger brother and sister, too, don't you? You know as well as I do that we're really short on money right now. I understand that it's not convenient for you to give me money right now, but why won't you accept the money she earns? All right, I get it. I've kept her locked up at home and didn't let her go, didn't I? Don't worry, that father and daughter won't see each other today. I won't let her affect your standing in the Ning family. Once that old man in the Ning family dies, the Ning family's fortune will all go to you and your brother. Her own daughter. Could it be that daughter who was swapped into the Ning family, Ning Qingqing? It turns out Luo Xia had already been in touch with her biological daughter all along, and her biological daughter is no pushover either. Luo Xia's interference in my decision to take the college entrance exam and attend the conference was also her doing. TSK. Skai's whole family really is a bunch of scoundrels. A mother went so far as to commit a crime so that her own daughter could enjoy a life of luxury and wealth in place of someone else's daughter, in order to hold on to her status as the wealthy family's heiress. The daughter actually schemed to prevent the true heiress from taking the college entrance exam, thereby ruining someone else's life. They really are mother and daughter. Fortunately, though, their relationship wasn't that strong. They didn't really trust each other and were essentially scheming against one another. One makes his mother do all the work but refuses to pay her, while the other pretends to love his daughter but is scheming to get his hands on the estate she is set to inherit. It was only by exploiting this loophole that I managed to convince Luo Xia to let me take the college entrance exam. I despise their behavior, but on second thought, if we want to defeat them in one fell swoop, perhaps we could start by exploiting this weakness. It seems so. I've decided what to do next. It has been 4 years since Jiangqing County last had a student admitted to Tsinghua University. As a result, this award ceremony for outstanding students was held on a particularly grand scale, with several high-ranking city officials and a number of philanthropic entrepreneurs including Ning Yunpeng in attendance, to protect these important figures. Police were also on site to maintain order. They also invited many reporters to help promote the event. I was standing at the doorway when I immediately spotted Luo Xia not far away, bragging to the people around her about having a daughter who was the top-ranked student in the college entrance exam. I've never hired a tutor for her either. Maybe she takes after me. My grades were about the same as hers when I was in school. A circle of parents gathered around her, all praising her for raising her daughter so well. If my child were half as smart as your daughter, I'd be more than happy. At home, all he does is lie in bed all day and stay up late reading novels, and as soon as I ask him to study, he starts complaining about aches and pains all over. It's giving me such a headache. Your daughter really has made you proud. I gave a sweet little smile. Then he rushed over to her and took her by the arm. Mom, what are you guys talking about? Luo Xia was completely baffled. She stared at me in disbelief, her eyes wide as copper bells, and her speech was all stammering. You, how did you get here? He immediately pulled me aside. I glanced around, as if afraid that Ning Qingqing would notice me. Get back here right now. I blinked innocently. Mom, I was just worried you'd make the trip for nothing. Who told you that you could accept the award on my behalf? That person is so mean at the award ceremony. Students can't receive their money unless they're there in person. Does that person just want our family to have a hard time? Luo Xia had looked a little displeased when I was scolding Ning Qingqing, but she fell silent after I explained why I was doing it. So it turns out you can't get the money unless the student comes in person. If Ning Qingqing had her lock me inside and come over herself, wouldn't that be lying to her? A flash of anger at being deceived crossed Luo Xia's face. I pressed my advantage. I told Dad about this. But he didn't believe me. Good thing I made a snap decision and jumped out the window. Otherwise, our family really wouldn't have been able to get that 200,000. A look of shame crossed her face. No one told May was just afraid of waking you up. You were sleeping so soundly that I didn't have the heart to wake you. So I figured I'd just go there myself. Oh, that's a pretty flimsy excuse. But I still pretended to believe her and tried to comfort her. Mom. It's okay if I don't get much sleep. What really matters is bringing in more money for the family. Please don't ever hesitate to ask me for help. You're the most important person to me. Luo Xia was deeply moved. Ting Ting, you're so thoughtful. It makes Mom so happy that you feel this way. I gave a very demure smile and caught a glimpse of Ning Qingqing standing next to Ning Yinping out of the corner of my eye. She watched as I not only accompanied Luo Xia, but also hugged and laughed with her as if we were mother and daughter. The look in her eyes was as if they were laced with poison. And her anger was plain to see. I really like this effect. Let the two devils tear each other apart. The ceremony begins. Ning Yinping personally took the stage to present awards to us students. As he was looking through my acceptance letter, he noticed that I had chosen microelectronics as my major, and his eyes suddenly lit up. Hey, why did you choose this major? With your grades, you could have gotten into a more popular computer science program. I really want to say, it's because I take after you. Ning Yinping's company specializes in the telecommunications sector, which is very much in line with my major. But I know now isn't the time to talk about that. So I gave it some serious thought. And then offered my answer sincerely, because I understand that semiconductors are a major technological challenge for our country. I have developed a keen interest in studying and researching integrated circuits. Therefore, I have resolved to align my aspirations with the needs of our nation's development, to ensure that our country's semiconductor manufacturing industry is no longer held back by other nations. I have decided to do my part to contribute to the future development of science and technology in our country. Ning Yinping is a patriotic entrepreneur. The Ning Group, which he founded single-handedly, is the backbone of China's technology sector. It is one of the few Chinese telecommunications companies capable of competing with foreign counterparts, and ranks among the world's top telecommunications equipment manufacturers. Faced with such a formidable giant, foreign countries were intimidated and began imposing sanctions on the Ning family. They targeted Ning's Achilles heel chips. Lithography machines are key equipment in chip manufacturing. The direct ban on the sale of high-end lithography machines in China dealt a massive blow to Ning's company. Ning Yinping dreams of solving the challenges facing the chip industry. He was very pleased with my answer and couldn't stop nodding as he listened. By the end, I found myself in tears. Excellent. Excellent indeed. When the youth are strong, the nation is strong. When the youth have ambition, the nation has ambition. When the youth are mighty on earth, the nation is mighty on earth. It is a great blessing for the nation to have talented people like you. Thunderous applause erupted in the hall and continued for a long time. What people witnessed was not merely a conversation, but a meeting of two pure hearts, the spirit of Yugong moving mountains. As two generations passed the torch in pursuit of the same ideal, everyone there was delighted. Even Luo Xia couldn't stop smiling when I won the 200,000 prize. Only Ning Qingqing looked clearly unhappy. The jealousy in his eyes was almost enough to kill someone. After the ceremony, Ning Yinping made a point of staying behind to wait for me. Ning Qingqing stayed by his side, staring at me with a hostile look the whole time. Ning Yinping invited me to do an internship at their company and asked if I was interested. I was just about to say yes. Luo Xia, however, hurried to pull me away. No internships don't pay much, and my daughter Tingting still needs to work part-time to make money. Ning Yinping furrowed his brow. High school graduation. Get a part-time job to earn money. I imagine he must be at a loss for words right now, giving up a rare internship opportunity at a defense contractor, only to let his child go out and work for money. A mother like that is truly a once-in-a-century find. Luo Xia pursed her lips. Of course. Who's as rich as you? I have 3 kids at home. and now that I've sent the oldest through high school, my job is done. If I don't let her work, who's going to pay my mortgage? Don't think I don't know an internship only pays a few dozen yuan a day, but she makes 200 yuan a day working at the factory. Ning Yunping took a deep breath. You're not planning to let her go to college either. She got into Tsinghua. After all, Luo Xiao waved her hand broadly. I don't plan to. After saying that, she grabbed my hand and tried to lead me away. Wait a minute. Ning Yunping called out to her. Why don't we have her come to my company for an internship first? The daily internship stipend is 1,000 yuan. Is that enough? Luo Xia hesitated. I nodded my head like crazy. Enough. Enough. Thank you, President Ning. Mom, the salary President Ning is paying me is way more than what I'd make working at the factory. This. Luo Xiao lowered her head and thought for a moment, glancing at Ning Qingqing, then at me, looking quite torn. Seeing that the other side was beginning to give in, Ning Yunping pressed his advantage. 2,000 a day. Luo Xiao's eyes lit up, and she no longer hesitated. Deal. Now it was Ning Qingqing's turn to get anxious. Since Luo Xia, that money-grubbing woman, was to be trusted, she had no choice but to take matters into her own hands. Dad, paying a high school student who hasn't even been accepted to college 2,000 yuan a day seems a little off, doesn't it? If you do that, what will the college graduates at the company who are getting 200 yuan a day as interns think? Ning Yunping, however, didn't seem to mind. It's no big deal. I believe Tingting can do a better job than those college graduates. She deserves this salary. But Ning Qingqing wanted to keep going, but Ning Yunping cut her off. Qingqing, I've already made up my mind. Please don't say anything more. Seeing that the situation was beyond repair, Ning Qingqing had no choice but to slip back into her role as the good daughter and obediently replied with a soft It was just that there was a bit more resentment in the way she looked at me. She shot Luo Xia another accusatory glance, but Luo Xia didn't dare meet her eyes and, feeling guilty, lowered her head. Ning Qingqing rolled her eyes. He muttered under his breath. Useless. On my way home, I continued to sow discord. Mom, does that girl from the Ning family have a grudge against us? She's determined to stop us from making money. Cutting off someone's livelihood is like killing their parents. Just how much does she hate our family? I'm just a high school student. Even if I got the job, I'd just be a lowly errand runner and general helper. How would that affect her? By not letting me get hired, isn't she indirectly stopping you from making money? Luo Xia had been blaming herself for not being able to help Ning Qingqing, but as soon as she heard me say that, she suddenly felt wronged. Exactly. She really screwed me over, and to think I thought she seemed so nice. I let out Atsk. He then gave her a heartfelt piece of advice. Mom, that's just how you are. You're too kind and too trusting. It really worries me. You must remember that the only people in this world you can trust are me, Dad, and your younger brother and sister. The bond we've shared for over a decade is stronger than anything else. In fact, I'd even say I'm the best person for you. Some people say love follows the money, and I'm willing to spend every penny I earn on you. Who else could be this good to you? Not even Dad can do that. Luo Xia, clutching the 200,000 yuan in her hands and thinking about the tens of thousands in internship pay she was about to receive, carefully mulled over my words. It seems that actually makes sense. Everyone knows that promises are just empty words. Only the money you actually have in your hand counts. Ning Qingqing first made her stop me from taking the college entrance exam, and then made her lock me up at home to keep me from attending the award ceremony. She almost cost her 200,000. Now they're trying every trick in the book to stop me from doing my internship, and that pays 2,000 a day. She earned enough in 2 months to buy her son a car. On top of that, she was made to do so much without receiving any tangible benefits in return, just a check that bounced. On one side was her adopted daughter, who got whatever she wanted, and on the other was her biological daughter, who took advantage of her in every way but never gave anything in return. No matter how foolish Luo Xia might be, after I stirred things up a bit, She finally began to sense that something wasn't quite right. She nodded slowly. Ting Ting is right. I became an intern in the Chip RD department at Ning Group. Everyone knows that I was a freshman at Tsinghua University who was specially recruited by the chairman. Thanks to my hard work, eagerness to learn, and charm, I get along very well with my colleagues in the department, and I've learned a lot from them. Later, Ning Qingqing arrived. It seems she was afraid that Ning Yunpeng and I would secretly reveal our family ties at the company. So she gave up her life as a pampered young lady and came here to do an internship instead. That's hilarious, a liberal arts major doing an internship in RD. I'm here to study. She's here to engage in palace intrigue. She gave me a rough welcome on her very first day. I ordered milk tea for all my coworkers, but there wasn't any for me. Ting Ting, I'm not going to order anything for you. After all, you're 2,000 yuan a day. Internship salary is almost more than my allowance. You're really something. Me dad has never paid an intern that much before. By the way, you don't mind me saying that, do you? The tea tastes so strong. Her coworkers silently put the milk teas she had given them back where they belonged. I didn't really care about bubble tea. But since she went that far, I had no choice but to fight back. I looked at her with an innocent expression and asked timidly, "Why didn't you pick me? Are you trying to embarrass me? Besides, my salary was set by President Ning. Are you questioning President Ning's judgment in hiring by questioning my salary? Oh my gosh, you're not spreading rumors about me and President Ning, are you? What kind of daughter would talk about her father like that? You're so gross." After I said that, I felt goosebumps all over my body. I shivered slightly and shook my head. Then he ignored her and went back to his work. Ning Qingqing didn't expect me to be so blunt. She was extremely embarrassed. I'm not. But no one paid any attention to her. Just then, the department head happened to walk by. "Qi Tingting, please come to my office." That's interesting. Even though it was Ning Qingqing who started the conflict with me, he singled me out as the only one to confront. I immediately realized how high-handed he was. Sure enough, as soon as we walked into the office, he condemned me without saying a word. What followed was a barrage of abuse. "Qi Tingting, just because you got into Tsinghua doesn't mean you can pick on the other interns. Do you realize that what you're doing is workplace bullying? I'm telling you, you're not getting paid today. Do that again, and you're fired. That's way off the mark, manager. As far as I recall, my salary is set by the CEO and paid out by the finance department. Right. As long as I complete my work tasks on time, you have no reason to withhold my pay, do you?" The supervisor snorted dismissively and finally spoke his mind. "Do you really think you've landed yourself a date with the boss? Don't forget Qingqing is the Ning family's heiress." Ning Qingqing stood outside the door, smiling at me. She walked over to me and whispered in my ear, "Qi Tingting, I advise you to quit right away. Don't make a fool of yourself. This is just the beginning. If you don't quit, it won't be long before I make you regret it. Do you believe me?" I looked at her with a hint of amusement. "Ning Qingqing, what exactly are you afraid of? I'm just an intern." "You're so wary of me. What exactly are you afraid of?" Ning Qingqing seemed to have been caught off guard, and she hurriedly defended herself. "I'm the eldest daughter of the prestigious Ning family. Why would I be afraid of a mere intern like you? Don't flatter yourself. I just can't stand the way you put on airs." Then he snorted and walked away. But I know she won't let it go. Sure enough, as soon as I got home, Luo Xia came up to confront me. "Did you embarrass Miss Ning at work? You're just a commoner. How could you afford to offend a young lady like Miss Ning? Do you have any idea what the consequences will be if you cross her? You'd better quit this jobbery, always getting on people's bad side. You're better off just working a regular job." I didn't rush to refute him. I just feigned surprise. I just had a little run-in with her. "But Mom, how did you find out? Did Ning Qingqing tell you?" A hint of embarrassment flashed across Luo Xia's face as she realized she'd been caught out, busy making excuses to justify himself. "Of course not. I just heard it from your coworker." I pretended to have a sudden realization. An idea immediately came to mind. "Oh, Then our manager must have contacted you, right? I put your contact information down when I filled out the emergency contact form earlier. Seeing the steps, Luo Xia quickly went down them. Yeah, that's him, acting as if I had expected this. I helped Luo Xia sit down on the sofa. Mom, what did I tell you? Don't trust strangers. Don't trust strangers, but you just wouldn't listen. See, you almost fell for someone else's trick again. Luo Xia was completely taken aback. What's the matter now, young lady? I started spouting complete nonsense with a straight face. That supervisor of ours is Ning Qingqing's boyfriend. He's set to be the heir to the Ning group. But he's petty, acts like the company is already his even before he's inherited it, so he's really unhappy that President Ning is paying me such a high salary. On top of that, Ning Qingqing is jealous of me because I went to a good school and President Ning likes me. That supervisor called you to try to get you to force me out. I'd like to work a couple more days so I can buy you a big gold bracelet. Luo Xia jumped up from the couch all at once. You're saying Ning Qingqing's boyfriend will become the heir to the Ning family business someday? What about Xiao Wei? I looked surprised. Xiao Wei? What does this have to do with Xiao Wei? Luo Xia almost let it slip, but quickly said, no. I didn't look into it any further. Instead, he sighed and said bitterly, speaking of Xiao Wei, I really think it's unfair. I mean, that manager comes from a family with a similar background to ours. Yet just by getting married, he's set to inherit such a huge company he'll never have to worry about a thing for the rest of his life. Ning Qingqing even said she's going to buy him a small island in the Pacific someday, so they can go there on vacation whenever they have time. Just look at Xiao Wei. Even if I work my whole life, I'll only be able to buy him a small apartment of just over 100 square meters. Oh, if only I were Chairman Ning's daughter. Then I could buy Xiao Wei a little island someday and let him live the life of a god for the rest of his life. Luo Xia smacked her lips. It seems I'm completely lost in the beautiful dreams I've woven. After a moment, he muttered, that's right. Then, as if he had just remembered something, his eyes suddenly widened. Ting Ting, if you really are a rich girl, would you really be willing to spend all your money on Xiao Wei? It just slipped out. Of course. But I'm nowhere near as lucky as Miss Ning Qingqing. Luo Xia took my words to heart, and after that, she seemed distracted whenever I spoke to her, as if she were deep in thought. I knew exactly what was going on. It was almost ready. Early the next morning, I was just about to leave for work when Luo Xia stopped me. Huge dark circles appeared under her eyes. It seemed as though she hadn't slept a wink all night and had been wrestling with a difficult internal conflict. Finally, she made up her mind. He took a deep breath and told the truth. Ting Ting, Mom's going to be honest with you. You're Ning Yunping's biological daughter. I widened my eyes, my gaze filled with disbelief. Mom, please don't joke like that. You've been so good to me, we're closer than a real mother and daughter. How could I possibly not be your biological daughter? It's nice to be a little more charming. Luo Xia was very pleased to hear what I said. My daughter. I wasn't lying to you. When you were born, the nurse mixed you up with Ning Qingqing. That mistake has lasted for 18 years. I didn't know about it until your blood test for the college entrance exam, when we discovered that you and I aren't biologically related. I've been investigating for a long time, and I've finally discovered the identity of your biological father. As she spoke, she took out a stack of documents. Here is Ning Qingqing's birth certificate and her heart condition diagnosis. This is the long life lock her biological parents left for her when she was born. At the time, I thought the nurse had put it on the wrong baby. But now I realize they were the ones who switched the babies. At that point, she looked up hesitantly. Ting Ting, you're not going to stop recognizing me as your mom once you've been reunited with your biological parents, are you? But I set those documents aside and looked at her with a determined gaze. Mom, you'll always be my mom. I don't care about anyone else, you're the only one for me. I believe that by earning my own money, I can provide a good life for you and your brother. Luo Xia was deeply moved. Good boy. Mom knew you were a kind and dutiful son, but we still have to acknowledge our family ties. Didn't say another word. I'll go with you to the company and set the record straight with your biological father. Luo Xia took me to the company in a huff. When I arrived at the chairman's office, I found it empty. Only Ning Qingqing was there, drinking coffee. When Ning Qingqing saw the two of us like that, she was startled. What are you going to do? Luo Xia didn't even look at her. She just spat out two words with great force. Let's recognize our family ties. Ning Qingqing was stunned for a few seconds before she realized what was happening. She panicked. She was so startled that her face turned pale. Recognize a relative. What relative? Mom. Didn't you promise to take my side? If you take He Tingting to meet the family, what am I supposed to do? I'm your biological daughter. Mom. Luo Xia angrily shook off her hand. How dare you call yourself my daughter? I don't have a daughter like you. We clearly agreed earlier. Mid-sentence, she seemed to realize I was still standing there. Forget it. I won't say another word. Just remember that Tingting is my only daughter, that's all I need. Seeing Luo Xia sitting upright and looking completely unyielding, Ning Qingqing knew that no amount of pleading would change her mind. She glared at him, her face flushed with anger, and snapped. He Tingting. Is she even worthy? A lowly hick who isn't fit to be seen in public. Does he even deserve to be compared to me? Luo Xia corrected her protectively. I won't let you talk about Tingting like that. She's a great person. She's been so much nicer to me than you have. Ning Qingqing laughed dismissively, as if she'd heard the funniest joke in the world. But as I smiled, tears began to fall. Did I hear that right? Are you actually complimenting her right now? Who was it who, back then, tried to curry favor with me by promising to stop He Tingting from taking the college entrance exam to make her do manual labor for the rest of her life and ensure she'd never threaten my position? And now you're suddenly sticking up for her. You're really quite hypocritical. Luo Xia quickly distanced herself from the matter. I was completely bewitched by you. You forced me to do it. Ning Qingqing's lips curled slightly upward at the corners. He let out a cold laugh. I forced you. You really know how to shift the blame. What about the time you trafficked and abandoned a child? Just because I have heart disease and He Tingting is healthy, you left me at the hospital and took He Tingting away. Do you dare say I forced you to do that? 2. Luo Xia was caught in a lie and momentarily panicked. She was so embarrassed and angry that she flew into a rage. You ungrateful wretch. Did I want to do that? With your severe heart condition, if I hadn't handed you over to someone else to take care of, you'd have just been waiting to die. Besides, you've been living the high life at the Ning families for 18 years on Tingting's behalf. In what way have I ever wronged you? Ning Qingqing seemed to have been struck a nerve. Her eyes immediately welled up with tears. I didn't lose out. How dare you even say that? Overcome with emotion, she grabbed Luo Xiao's sleeve and looked closely at her face, hoping to detect even the slightest hint of remorse. But Luo Xia yanked her hand back, causing Ning Qingqing to stumble and fall to the ground. Stop giving me a hard time. I don't have an ungrateful daughter like you. I sent you to the Ning family to live a life of comfort. And yet here you are, blaming me for it. Tingting has been through so many hard times with me over the years, and she's never said a word, still just as kind to me as ever. A barely perceptible smirk flitted across my face. Luo Xia, do you even remember how hard life was for us back then? Of course I'm going to be nice to you, otherwise how would I get to enjoy this great show of a mother and daughter turning against each other? Ning Qingqing was on the verge of a breakdown. Her delicate face was etched with madness and despair. Her voice was almost a shout. Did I force you to give me up to the Ning family to be raised? If you really had my best interests at heart, as you claim, then why did you come looking for me? You came to me when I was 7, cruelly told me that you were my biological mother, and brainwashed me into believing that once I inherited the estate, I'd have to give half of it to my younger brother. Ever since I was 7, I've lived in constant fear, worried that one day the truth would come out and my parents would abandon me. Luo Xia, do you dare say that when you dumped me on the Ning family back then, it wasn't entirely for their money? Don't you think you were cruel to me? See, Luo Xia never loved any of her daughters. Every daughter is nothing more than a stepping stone for her to raise a son. But she didn't get the answers she was looking for. I've given you such a good life, didn't you think you should do your part for our family? How can you be so selfish? Luo Xia was sticking to her usual line. Hearing that, I even felt like laughing a little. Turning to Ning Qingqing, who was standing nearby. Her hair was disheveled, and her eyes red and swollen from crying stared blankly at Luo Xia. Her face a mask of numbness and despair. Luo Xia was shocked by just how shameless she was. She opened her mouth in vain, but couldn't bring herself to say a single word in response. A smile unique to a victor appeared on Luo Xia's face. You've got nothing to say, do you? Just admit it, you're nothing but a selfish, ungrateful wretch. Not only are you a bad person, but you're also stupid. With all the great educational opportunities the Ning family provided you, you still scored so much lower than Tingting on the college entrance exam. You're such a good for nothing. Let me tell you, you'll never measure up to Tingting in the slightest. Not even by a hair. You'll always be a lowlife. Ning Qingqing curled up and covered her ears. Stop it. Stop it. But when Luo Xia saw this, she became even more brazen, and with a malicious grin, she uttered even more heart-wrenching words. Ning Qingqing was overcome with despair. She slumped helplessly to the ground, her hands clenching the hem of her shirt tightly. All the humiliation and fear she had been bottling up finally erupted at that moment. She smiled. To my surprise, she smiled. First, she lowered her head and let out a soft chuckle. Then came a second and a third, followed by a string of giggles that had her doubled over with laughter. Unable to contain her joy, there was an eerie silence in the air, and Luo Xia shifted closer to me, frightened. Ting. She can't be crazy, can she? I didn't say a word. He just glanced down at his watch and calculated the time. It'll be ready soon. This farce is coming to an end. Suddenly, with a boom, the door opened. Ning Yunping hurried in, followed by several senior executives from the company. In addition to them, there was a supervisor who was left speechless. Ning Yunping looked at the supervisor cautiously. Xiao Liao, is this what you meant when you said that Tingting's mom, armed and furious, was out to get revenge on Qingqing? The supervisor stammered and hesitated. No, Chairman. I don't know the details either. All I know is that yesterday, Miss Qingqing and Miss He, Tingting got into a fight, and today, Miss Tingting's mother stormed up to the penthouse where Miss Qingqing was staying, armed and furious. It happened so suddenly that I had to rush to tell you about it. I didn't know it would turn out like this. I'm sorry, Chairman. He had intended to make a good impression on Ning Yunping, but he ended up going too far, exposing the Ning family's dirty laundry to the entire company. But the weapon spoke of was nothing more than a rolled-up document, and inside was simply a longevity lock I had worn when I was born. When Ning Qingqing saw Ning Yunping, her smile froze. She rubbed her head, and her face regained some clarity. She crawled on her hands and knees to Ning Yunping's feet, clung to his pant leg, and wouldn't let go, as if she were clinging to the last ray of light in her life. Daddy, you heard everything, didn't you? But you won't blame me, will you? I'm your favorite. Qingqing, she and Herthy both bad women, the kind who are tearing our family apart. Daddy, can we kick them both out? Ning Yunping looked at her, his face filled with sorrow. He clenched his teeth and spoke with great difficulty. Qingqing, you've really let me down. Go away. The Ning family absolutely refuses to have an adopted daughter with a heart as venomous as a snake or a scorpion. From now on, I never want to see you again. Ning Qingqing was led away from the scene by security guards, still in a state of shock. She screamed and kicked and punched like a desperate madwoman. Her life of luxury and comfort in the first half of her life was coming to an end. Every day from then on would be a living hell for her. And just like that, my background was laid bare for all to see. I've become the Ning family's true heiress once again. Ning Qingqing lost her mind due to long-term stress and today's intense emotional shock. In the end, Ning Yunping couldn't bring himself to completely abandon her, couldn't bear to let her truly become a madwoman wandering the streets, so he had her admitted to a psychiatric hospital. where she was provided with food and shelter. She will spend the rest of her life there. Criminal charges have been filed against Luo Xia for 2 offenses: child trafficking and abandonment. Before she was taken away, she asked me, clinging to a last shred of hope, "Ting Ting, you'll come and rescue Mom, won't you?" "Don't worry, Mom will definitely stay alive and wait for you to rescue me." I shook my head. Luo Xia completely broke down. "Mom was wrong. Will you forgive me? Didn't you say before that you loved Mom the most?" I frowned as I stared at her. It's like watching someone with an intellectual disability. "The moment I found out you'd abducted me, you stopped being my mom. Then." No matter how much she shouted, he walked away without looking back. Forgiving her is God's job, and my task is to take her to meet God. I've done everything I could. The rest is up to the law. I returned to the company as the heir to the Ning family. Manager Liao completely changed his aloof attitude and started bowing and scraping to me. I handed him a document. "Manager Liao, please sign here." "Sister Ting Ting, calling me that is too much of an honor. Just call me Little Liao from now on. If you ever need me to sign something, just give me a shout, I'll be there in a flash." After saying that, he grinned and took the report with both hands, signing his name without even glancing at it. I let the corners of my mouth turn up slightly. "No, thank you. Here's your termination notice. Please handle the handover of your duties and leave at the end of the month." After all, I wouldn't dare hire a petty person who bullies the weak and kowtows to the powerful. After Luo Xia was sentenced, Luo Xia's husband came to the company with their son and daughter. They thought I was still that little girl who could be pushed around at will. At first, they even tried to curry favor with me, dreaming of one day inheriting the Ning family fortune. But I won't see any of them. Eventually, in a desperate move, they went so far as to hang a banner right outside the company's entrance. "The Ning family's daughter is an ungrateful wretch. For the sake of money, she actually sent her adoptive mother to prison and kicked her adoptive father and younger siblings out of the house." Public opinion was in an uproar. This caused quite a stir, and Ning Group's stock price plummeted again and again. When my father asked if I needed him to help me resolve the issue, I declined. "I can definitely handle something this small." I walked out the front door of the company. I saw that man sitting on the ground with his 2 children, his face full of resentment. When he saw me come out, his face lit up with joy, thinking I was about to give in to him, and the first thing he said was to extort 20 million from me. This scene reminded me of my past life. They used to swindle people just like this back then. The difference is that in their past lives, I was their bargaining chip. But now it's Luo Xia. But I'm not going to let people push me around like that company did in my past life. Instead of agreeing to pay them off, I filed a lawsuit against them in court, charging them with extortion and defamation, so they could face justice. In the end, he was sentenced to 10 years. Luo Xia and her husband were allowed to meet in prison. Since my younger brother and sister were minors and considered accomplices, their punishment was relatively light, but it was still enough to leave a significant mark on their records. When the trial ended, the 2 of them were furious but felt there was nothing they could do. They will lead a life of poverty and hardship, to live the lives they were meant to live. Now that I've been given a second chance at life, I've finally reclaimed what rightfully belongs to me. Those who committed evil deeds were all punished. The wheels of fate have finally returned to their proper course. I am about to embark on the brilliant life that belongs to me.